welcome back to Something in the Shadows. Today, we have 3 more of the best short scary stories of all time. Let's get into it. Our first story is entitled, My Favorite Support Group. Look, I'll be the first to admit I'm a complete bastard. I'm also lazy. I'm only here to find the idiot, because there's almost always an idiot. This support group is pretty typical. We connected online, decided on a quiet place, and now we're all sitting cross-legged in a circle. Real kumbaya crap. Jerome takes the lead, pouring everyone a cup of tea as he starts talking. I'm Jerome. You can drink your tea, but only after explaining why you're here. I'll start. Jerome tells us he's never been loved. I can see why. The guy's ugly as sin. He sips his tea while the mousy cheek speaks next. Mayu, she says. My parents. Short and sweet, no blubbering. Gotta admire Mayu. She's probably not the idiot. Next to talk are the legless veteran, a broken businessman, and a needle track junkie, and a diseased old crone. Then, it's my turn. I'm an ass. Everyone hates me. I take a loud, annoying slurp of oolong as a fat kid with a black eye goes next, telling his boring fat kid sob story. Afterwards, we're all sitting quietly when Jerome keels over. Then Mayu's eyes roll back and she slumps forward. Only the fat kid reacts. What's happening, he whines. I thought this was a suicide support group. Found the idiot. It is, I say, spitting out my mouthful of tea. They support it. No one wants to die alone, kid. Oh, how ghost white he turns looking into his cup. I love it. These suicide meetups are a sadist dream. And I never have to lift a finger. I told you, I'm a lazy bastard. Our next story is entitled Emily. It's very short. Little Emily vanished last year. Now they're pouring new sidewalks in my neighborhood, and I found her name in the wet cement written in remembrance. But it was written in reverse, and from below. Our final story of the day is entitled The Eyes Are Watching Me. This one's a bit longer. I bought a new house in the small town of Winthrop. The house was cheap. The most important part was that I needed to get away from the city. A few months ago I had a run-in with a stalker. While I had managed to get him arrested, I couldn't shake the feeling of eyes just constantly watching me. I felt like there were eyes everywhere, at home and on the street, so I decided to move out into the country to somewhere with less people, just for the peace of mind. The house itself was big and somewhat old, but otherwise very welcoming. The agent who introduced me to the house had been required to mention that a serial killer had lived here in the past, which is why the house was so cheap. However, he, and later my next door neighbor Sarah, both told me to pay the thought no mind. 4 other owners had lived in the house since then, and all of them were happy with it. I loved the house. Its interior furnishings were beautiful and very comfortable. The people in Winthrop were friendly, often bringing over freshly baked pastries or inviting me over for dinner. Get-togethers, they said, were the key to making sure everyone who lived in Winthrop loved it there. Yet, after a week, I stopped loving it. The feeling of someone watching returned, worse than before. I tried to ignore it, but as soon as I started losing sleep, giant bags grew under my eyes, and I began yawning almost as much as I breathed. Sarah was kind enough to let me stay in her house for a few nights. It was during this time that I heard the legends of Forrest Carter, the serial killer who had lived in my house. While no one knows his exact kill count, Carter, also known as the Winthrop Peacock, was a man with an extremely severe case of narcissism. Legends say that he couldn't fall asleep if he didn't feel like he wasn't being watched. He was finally arrested for putting up a scarecrow to watch him during the night. Only it wasn't a scarecrow. Carter had murdered a 17-year-old girl just so her corpse could stare at him. The story gave me shivers. After I went home, I felt like there were hundreds of pairs of eyes just watching me no matter how I turned. Today, however, was the first day that I acted out. I was cooking breakfast when I felt the eyes, instinctively out of fear. I threw my kitchen knife, which lodged itself in the wall. As I pulled it out, I found myself staring at a pair of eyes, pickling in formaldehyde. I've been watching the police peel away the drywall of my house for hours now. So far, they found 142 pairs of eyes in little glass jars. Scariest thing is, each and every one was staring at me. Thank you for stopping by, and I hope you have a horrifying day.